Hello everyone, a warm welcome to the session today. Like every time wherever we have a chance, we always try to bring you amazing success stories from students who have achieved great results on GMAT. And today we have one such story for you guys where one of our students has scored a 95th percentile on the GMAT Focus edition with a great score on all the three areas and the journey has been really inspiring, and because the fact that she turned around the entire thing in the last 30 days before the test. So just 1 month before the test, she was very close to the mark, I would say. She was getting the scores in the 600s, but you know that feeling that you're not yet there, which actually creates trouble for many students. Sometimes it is there in the mind that okay, I've done everything, but I still feel that there is something which is lacking. That was there, that was nagging. But how she miraculously turned around the entire thing in a month's time and actually got to a dream score of 675, which is put it up for most of the B schools that she's going to apply to. So, without any further ado, I would invite Gurmehr amongst us. So, Gurmehr, a warm welcome to the session today. How did it feel when you saw that 675 on the screen after the test?
I was very relieved. I was like, I've worked so hard for this, and finally I hit a mark where I'm eligible for the schools that I wanted to go to. So it was a big relief, and yeah, more than that, just relief and happiness that I don't have to do this again.
So I have this. This is my first question to every person I interview. To be honest, and 90% of them same answer I get. I felt relief because honestly, when you look at doing an MBA, GMAT does seem like a blocker sitting right in your path, not allowing you to move forward to the more important stage of the application. So
Yeah,
definitely, like it's a very big relief for the student to see that score. So one more thing,
definitely.
like I am sure you might be feeling a little different, nervous, maybe excited about sitting across the table. As a student, you would have watched many of these interviews, right? Like other people talking about their journeys, their success. So how
Yeah.
does it feel sitting across the table, talking about your path with others? Did you imagine this would happen? How was the feeling about that?
I mean, I can't believe it. Like one month ago, I was on the other side of this. I was attending your webinars of like success stories or tips to crack DI and all of that. So to be on the side where I've done it feels like really good, and I'm proud that I could finally manage it. Along with your help, of course, wouldn't have been possible.
Definitely. Totally understand. Like when you see those stories, it definitely inspires you. And I'm very sure that many of our users are here to get the same sort of inspiration. So if you are here, be rest assured, you can also be in Gurmehr's place. She was also attending such videos just a month back. So you can always get there. So feel free to bombard us with your questions because this is a live interview for a reason. We want you guys to ask the questions. Again, I'm going to be a moderator. I'm going to ask a set of questions myself to Gurmehr. So let's start with your journey on GMAT. Like when did it start? What did you do before coming to GMAT Quiz? What was your entire journey? Just brief us about that and let's go forward from there.
Yes. So before I came to GMAT Wiz, I had studied for about 3 months full time for the GMAT. I took a 1 month break
Okay.
because I was traveling. So I'd done all the basics and done a course on like Quant, Verbal DI, but I was still struggling, especially on Quant because I'm not from a math background. I last
Hmm.
did math in class 10.
Oh,
I was very struggling a lot on quant, and that was where I was not able to move forward. Even though I had done all the basics, I was just not able to. And I gave a few mocks as well, but I wasn't able to move beyond Q78. And my best at that time was Q80, which is not good enough to to get the score. So my maximum score was 635, and my quant was still the weakest part. And that's when I came to GMAT ways that I'm just not able to move forward by myself. And that's where Piyush came in and I think rescued my process. And this is the reason I was able to improve 40 points just in quant. I mean, my score improvement came solely from quant, which
okay.
I would not have thought possible. I mean, yeah, I was so pleased with my
When you look at it that way, it seems like when just to translate it into absolute numbers, when someone improves their score by 40 points, like overall, just from one section, that means an average improvement over 6 points happened in that particular area alone. And 6 points might seem like 6 points, but it's a massive increase in terms of percentile. Like when you're moving towards the higher scores, and I'm sure like Gurmehr and I have went through the entire journey, so we know
Yeah.
how difficult it was to kind of see that jump every single day. We had to like do so many questions. I remember we were doing like some crazy questions on permutation, combination, probability, which no one likes doing. So, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot of effort, to be honest. It's a lot of effort. And one more thing which is very important for every user to understand is that official mocks tend to be about a couple of points, let's say, easier than the actual GMAT. So usually when I see someone scoring like let's say X score in the official mock, I generally say your actual score is gonna be about 10-20 points lower. Uh, I don't tell that to students when I'm working with them. I did not tell that to Gurmehr either.
I'm
Like
glad. I'm glad.
because, because yeah, I think and you definitely want to talk about it. GMAT journey is also about, and on the day of the test also, it's about how you manage your anxiety, how you maintain your calm and composure. So a lot of things go into that. As a mentor or a tutor, my job was also to ensure that Kumail is feeling most confident on the day of the test. So whatever was required, I did that. So yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely very happy with the end result. Like I still remember you were nervous. Probably I'm not sure whether you're nervous or not going into the test. I was nervous what will happen today. So I really got relief when you shared your score. So let's talk about your journey. Let's start with what we did. So I remember very clearly we started in the last week of June approximately, and you took the test in the last week of July. So let's run the users through your initial process. So we understand 3 months before that you studied, you did the basics, you covered a good amount of questions also, and you were not sure what to do next. So what changed in the next 1 month? Like what was the change in the thought process that ended up getting you the score improvement in quant?
So, when I started working with you, I think it was a very strategic approach, which also helped me. And, I didn't have to think by myself of how to plan my day or plan my week, which is also a big thing because you're doing it by yourself. So you don't exactly know if you're doing the right thing or not. So it's helpful to work with somebody who does this, like full time and who knows what they're doing. So in that sense, initially we started with identifying my weak areas, because I did a few tests and before the first session, and he evaluated and saw, where I'm spending a lot of time, what I'm getting wrong, and then based on that we identified my weak areas. And then he also made me solve a few questions, I remember, on like I think each of the classes, honestly, to assess to assess where I'm struggling and how I'm approaching more than anything. He used to keep saying, "Talk me through how you solve this. Talk me through how you approach this." So in that sense, he really drilled down on where I'm getting things wrong. So I think that analyzing the root problem, then we planned a strategy on how to go about solving it. And I think you can only tell then how we approached solving it because you made my
I
whole
guess
plan, including for
all the
verbal, and
signs we can
you told me how to go about planning my week, which I didn't even have to then end up thinking about. Like, I just had to do it. That okay, he's told me do verbal for like 2 hours a day, so I didn't even have to think about that. I just had to do it for those 2 hours. It was not like there was stress or additional pressure on me to plan as well. So that as well. But you can
correct.
tell how you managed to get me such a good score. I think it's all up to you. So आप ही बता सकते हो.
Yeah, sure. So, see, again, definitely my job is to guide, and I guide a lot of students. I guide like hundreds of students in a month, but definitely it's about the students' job to make sure that they implement it. And you have implemented beautifully, so it's more of your effort than mine, to be very honest over here. But let's run the users through the thought process. So the main thing that all of us need to understand is I always believe that problem solving is all about root cause identification. And when I say problem solving, I'm not talking about the quant problem solving questions. I'm talking about solving the like challenge that we are facing in terms of getting the score up. So it's very important to exactly know what is stopping you from getting there. And to do that, it's very important to take both qualitative as well as quantitative approach. Like, so what we did together was like we started with certain diagnostic tests on focused areas, And these are tests where we focused on understanding not just the kind of mistakes, as Gurmehr mentioned very clearly, that the kind of mistakes she's making, she's also taking extra time in some type of questions. So I still remember our first class, like I was just referring to our notes. There were a few areas within, let's say, time and work, that's where we started, where the time taken was slightly higher. Interest, compound interest questions, you are taking slightly more time. You're taking more time for averages and all those types of questions. So we understood that the initial diagnostic was on word problems. So within word problems, these are two, three focus areas where we need to spend time. So that's where the quantitative analysis kind of helps us. But the more important thing is that obviously this data is not something I'm sure Gurmehr won't have seen. Like you would have also seen similar data in the past that okay, this is probably what is happening with me. But
Hmm.
why is that happening?
Hmm.
What is leading to that? Is where this question solving that Gurmehr was talking about comes into picture. When she was solving questions, I could very clearly see that she was a lot more underconfident than she should have been. Basically, like she was actually aware of the concepts well. It's not that she doesn't understand the concept, but that somewhere the confidence was lacking. I felt. Second thing, and the more important thing was the process part of it. So because of the confidence, the process was not something she was consistent with. I saw that in some cases she's going halfway through the question, going in the right track, and then suddenly takes a U-turn again that okay, this might be something wrong. So probably what I understood from that was that it's not like she doesn't know the process. Like mostly it is there. Some changes are required. But what I felt was that she doesn't know how this process, why this process works this way. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's also important to have that clarity that okay, I can apply this because of this particular reason. And when you have that clarity, your confidence goes up and you're able to handle even complex scenarios around you.
Yeah.
So I think it was more about getting deep into like those nitty-gritties, understanding exactly which uh, part of the process you're not doing. Are you following a standardized approach or not? And a lot of it is about also kind of understanding how much time we need to spend on each area. So uh, I remember very clearly that like again, this is a question which I'll throw to you. I don't want to do it as a monologue. It's your interview at the end of the day, Gurmehr. So out of word problems, number probabilities, and algebra, like how did you spend your time? Where did you spend more time, less time? What was the like the distribution that you gave to these three areas overall?
I think based on what we discussed, it was not like I went like algebra or number properties as a whole. It was more like approaching specific topics. So if there like for example linear inequality, so I'm doing like 10 questions on that, 20 questions on that, because not doing algebra as a whole, because I could really then focus on seeing patterns that emerge and then addressing those. Because if you do all the types of questions together, then you're not really seeing if you have the conceptual clarity of one specific topic. So I think Piyush and I both we really focused on doing one topic, after another, but doing one at a time, and you're really focusing on building that. Like I did permutation and combination in depth, then I did probability in depth. So it was not like I was doing all of them together. So that really built my confidence as well, and my clarity, conceptual clarity. And along with the questions, I also did a lot of courses on the GMAT WIS platform, and some I did even when Piyush didn't tell me to do them, because I actually found the instruction to be very simple, and I found a lot of methods to be more straightforward than what I had learned. So I ended up kind of inculcating most of them into how I approached questions. And there's the stuff like it's more I thought the course is very directed towards the exam, not just about the concepts in general. So I think that really helped me. Yeah, so I think, and of course, Viz quiz. But if that's a question that I should talk about later or right now, that you can tell
I
me.
think we can talk about that. So, like the good thing is that what you need to understand is that obviously when you're working with a tutor, you cannot the tutor is not present with you throughout the entire week or entire day. So,
Hmm.
what makes our GMAT Wiz services that great, or like if you see the reviews, the reason we have been able to achieve such great score improvements is not just because of the tutors we have; it's also because of the combination of the tutor with the course. So, when you're doing studies on your own part, it's important that you should have great material to refer to, great learning material, great questions to refer to, and that's equally important. Even though tutors take all the highlight at the end of the day because of the personal attention that you get from them. The course has a great part in kind of teaching those basics. As Gurmehr said, she studied with one of the leading online courses in the market. We're not going to name it, but she studied from one of the leading courses, and even then she was able to find some methods which were more straightforward, better explained, better applied with respect to the actual test on perspective, basically. And had that course not been there, I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't have done the entire thing in the 10 sessions that we did. It would have probably taken more, or probably I might not have helped you get across the line either, because you have high quality material with you. So you can go ahead and talk about the GMAT Wiz quiz also. Wiz quiz is basically our customized quizzing platform. So if you want to share any inputs on that or thoughts on that, feel free to go ahead.
Yes, I mean, I genuinely can't emphasize how much working with you and GMAT Wiz um, made things simpler for me. Like it, a lot of topics were like convoluted in my head, like you said, and that made me underconfident because I sort of thought I knew something, but then that made me less confident because I didn't know the logic behind it. And there was a simpler way to approach a lot of questions, still logical and straightforward, but like just
Can you take
more
an example to help for the users? Like just
um,
any example.
I mean, for example, for like work and time, there are just better ways to approach things and more logical. I felt, for example, in work and time, the way that focus on taking the LCM for work. If you're given the times for two different things, and then for relative speed, the formula was very straightforward. Of course, given the point of reference, like you were told me, but like those formulas, and even with permutation combination, I thought there were much like the logic was much better put through in how to go from one step to another, and approach a question a certain way. For example, questions, how many different three-letter words can be made from the word school, or questions like that. So there was a very strategic way to approach those, and I think I became very confident in PNC, which is one of my weakest areas when I started working with you. And yeah, Visquiz is, I think, a great resource. I think I fully exploited that as a resource to me. I think I solved, I don't know how many questions on that platform. I think all the hard questions of all the topics, and a lot of the easy and medium ones. And they have a lot of DS questions as well, which also I worked on. So it was not just quant. Also, my DI got better because you get 7 questions of DS on data insights. So quant help, like working on my quant with GMAT was also helped me on that. So Biscuits was a great platform, and I think one thing that I really liked about it was that there were different questions, but they're targeting the same concepts. It is not like there are 20 types of questions. It's like they're focusing on the concepts that are tested. So you really, the more quizzes you do, the better you can see yourself getting at them. So yeah, I
So
think it
it's
was a
important that basically you are tested on GMAT styled concepts rather than just being tested on everything which is out there. So this quiz definitely helps you get that perspective. And as you said, that main game changer, like in my opinion, is basically the conceptual and the process clarity that one gets. So, for example, like Gurmehr has talked about a lot of great methods around work rate, distance, combination is I'm sure something which if I take a poll even right now, people who are going to call later at any point of time, you'll find maximum number of people, more than 70% people struggling with that. But what people fail to realize is that combination is probably one of the most logical areas in quant. If you understand the process, the science behind it, it actually becomes easy for you to solve questions on that. And just for the record, for users who are just watching, Gurmehr only made a couple of mistakes in the entire quant section. So that's a great achievement, honestly, because like from being just 1 month back, like being underconfident about what to do next, basically from there all the way to getting what about 90+% accuracy is a great achievement on the day of the test. So
when
great,
I came to you, I had like 7, 8 questions wrong on every single sectional or mock that I gave. So it's a massive improvement. Uh,
definitely.
it
But
took a lot of effort from both of us, I'm sure. to get
Yeah.
there.
But the great thing is that it's behind you now. So,
Yeah.
like you can focus all the way on the application. Still have a month or so to go ahead with us having a word with Gurmehr in the morning about the applications he's making. So, yeah, all the best for those. And any closing remarks from your side for the users about what they should do to get a great improvement on GMAT in the short span of time. Uh, any other?
No, I think before I give insights, I do want to say one thing which I wanted to say, but I think there are so many other things that I was trying to mention. I lost track of it. Was that although I worked with Piyush only, like, I started working with him for my quant only. You gave me a lot of helpful insights on, planning my strategy for the main exam. And, not just that, you really like were there. I remember I called you in one of my mocks after our whole coaching went badly. That was the only one that went like not as well as I expected, and I was so upset. But you really like motivated me through it, and give me a way to approach the exam that is not life or death. I remember you telling me that just take it as an exam, try and have fun, enjoy it, and overall, even like with my strategy for verbal and DI, I think like you helped me approach all three of them. Like even with like I know a lot of people struggle with DI, so I just want to outline that like Quant does help you with DI, like TPA specifically, because a lot of that is forming equations. So if you can do that quickly, once you get your concepts clear on quant, then it really increases the pace. Same with median, mode, averages, standard deviation. So all of that, quant is very important for DI, and so is verbal. But I think what I really value is that you went above and beyond. Even our partnership. So I really, really appreciate that. And I told you that day also when I got the score that I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. But other than that, no, I mean, just you have to work hard, but also have to work smart. Both things, I think. You have to, if you're not able to move through, you have to identify the problems, because just solving questions won't then make you go from X to Y. You have to be strategic about it.
I think
Um,
that last line that you said is the highlight of the entire thing. You have to work smart, not just hard. So that's very important. Understand where you're faltering, and test is completely not just about your, let's say, understanding of the concept of quant and verbal. It's also a testament of your calmness and composure. So that's something which, honestly, many people struggle with. I do my best to kind of motivate them, energize them in the right way, which I did for you, which I did for a lot of other people also. But main thing is that you believe in yourself, you stayed positive, did your best. So and that got you across the line. And I hope all of the other students that I'm working with do the same. And those who are going to be my future students, who some of you might be watching this right now, do the same. So maintain your calm. It's not a game of life and death. Trust me. One thing which I used to tell Gurmehr or maybe other students also, that if you complete your MBA from Harvard, 3 years, 4 years down the line, no one is going to ask you which round did you apply in. Did you apply in round one, or did you apply in round two, or did you get a scholarship, or did you not? What matters is where you end up. So it's important that you believe in yourself, have the right journey, and as Gurmehr mentioned, identify what's stopping you from getting to your score and act upon it. So thank you so much, Gurmehr, for taking out time today. I know you have the application around the corner, so give your 100% and convert a grade B schools, and maybe later on we'll invite you on a panel to discuss about the B school that you are in, like Indian users of the school,
Fingers
maybe.
crossed.
Yeah. No, for sure. We're going to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Piyush, for everything. I mean.